Life-threatening injuries. In fact, one of them we saw being brought away in an ambulance, and she was calm, even talking on the cell phone. And we were here when detectives were collecting evidence from this scene, including shell casings and a piece of clothing. Again, this all happened along a 2-block stretch from 82nd Street to 84th Street on Amsterdam, all while people were sitting on the sidewalks eating and drinking.
Well, we were sitting here, and first we heard the shot, which we didn't realize was a shot.
We heard a pop, we thought it was a tire, and then everyone kind of rushed to the back of the bar and took cover.
Yeah, you can imagine what that scene was like. This is actually the stretch of area where it was shut down for about, I would say, only about an hour or so. Again, it is now all clear, but we do know from people who were in these restaurants, they say there were a number of officers that responded very quickly. Again, this is all being investigated, exactly what went down, but 2 people shot with non-life-threatening injuries, and police questioning 1 person right now. That's the very latest on the Upper West Side. I'm Bryn Gingras, News 4 New York.
Bryn, thank you.
And now to that little boy who endured something out of a horror movie. Rats crawling all over him, biting him as he lay in his bed, and the little guy couldn't even scream for help.
News 4's Jackie Beckford is live in Bedford-Stuyvesant in Brooklyn with the infestation that has a family now afraid to return home.
Chuck, this has to rank up there near the top of a parent's worst nightmare, to walk into your child's bedroom and see that they had been attacked during the night. And this mother claims it was by a rat or several rats. She claims that the rats are coming from this closed-up subway stop here, crawling up the walls of her building and straight into her son's bedroom. We have to warn you, some of these images may be disturbing.
Blood all over his pillow. I wanted to make sure that I had proof.
A 3.5-year-old's bed covered in blood, his mother says.
Blood right here on the walls, right here on the side.
After he was bitten by a rat, possibly several rats, while he slept.
There wasn't no scratches. It was the actual teeth that bit him.
A rat?
Yes.
Teeth.
A rat. Not a mouse, a rat.
Bit your child?
Yes.
Documents from 2 different hospitals on August 21st show doctors who examined little Nathaniel believed the same thing.
It's like there was like more than one trying to bite on him.
What's worse, Marilyn never heard a thing because her son is a special needs child who rarely speaks and likely couldn't cry out for help.
I'm right here in the next room, right next door to him, and I didn't hear nothing. So that's the part that really hurt me more.
That's why this mother is on a mission to be relocated. She says her apartment, which sits above a closed subway entrance, has been infested with rats for years. Now they're chewing through her walls.
They tried to feed them up and they kept eating through the hole again, or they would eat right next to it.
This is video and pictures Marilyn has taken of the vermin, and she's not the only one fed up with the condition of the building.
Because I see when my cat killed one in front of my door. Ridiculous, because I call Wavecrest Management all the time, but no calls back.
Documents show Wavecrest Management did bring in an exterminator after Nathaniel was bitten. Pest remediation treatments can be seen in the kitchen. 311 records also show a complaint on August 21st was resolved 8 days later. But Marilyn says she still hears rats in the walls, and her son is now afraid to go to sleep.
I'm scared, yeah. And my son he don't want to sleep in his bed alone, so.
And Marilyn says ultimately the only thing she really wants here is to be relocated to another building, and she's asking the building management company to do that for her. We tried to contact Wavecrest Management, but our calls today were not returned. In Bedstuy, Jackie Beckford, News 4 New York.
All right, Jackie, thanks so much. In New Jersey is hospitalized as concerns grow about the Ebola epidemic in that area. A local EMS ambulance brought the unidentified man from Roselle to the emergency room at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital in Rahway. It happened about 7 this evening. Now, hospital officials tell us that the patient had a fever and was vomiting. No one is sure exactly what is wrong with him, but the hospital reports it is following CDC guidelines while evaluating the situation. We will keep you up to date as this story develops.
New York has now joined a growing list of states reporting a respiratory illness that has sickened hundreds of children. The Department of Health has confirmed more than a dozen cases statewide, all the children infected with Enterovirus 68, a rare strain that mimics the common cold, but is much more serious. News source Michael George is on the Upper East Side with a health alert.
Can I take a listen to you?
There's a reason Enterovirus 68 has parents and doctors so concerned. Most of its victims are children, and there's no treatment and no vaccine. Dr. Robert Glatter of Lenox Hill Hospital tells me parents of children with asthma need to be especially concerned. Even though the virus is often mild, it can turn serious and cause respiratory failure, and it's spreading fast.
It's unclear why this virus now has become more prevalent.
So what is Enterovirus 68? Well, it's worse than a bad cold. Symptoms include extreme trouble breathing, severe coughing, and sometimes wheezing, fever, and rash. Is this virus more severe than the other varieties?
It is. What we're seeing are pockets of infection, especially that are severe in young children with asthma, typically in the age of 3 to 5 years old.
Dr. Glatter says you probably already know how to prevent spread of the virus. It's the same way you prevent the spread of the flu.
This disease is spread by contact, so washing your hands is important. And always, especially after changing diapers if you have young children.
There have been more than a dozen cases confirmed in upstate and central New York. Experts are warning parents here, act fast if you notice symptoms.
If the child is having difficulty breathing, don't delay in calling the doctor. Go to the hospital, the emergency department immediately.
And Dr. Glatter tells me this virus is likely going to get worse before it gets better. That's why it's all the more important that parents, especially parents of children with asthma, know the warning signs. At Lenox Hill Hospital on the Upper East Side, Michael George, News 4 New York.
Well, an Island subway station attack. 61-year-old James Barnes is now facing assault and sexual abuse charges for allegedly attacking a woman in the DeKalb Avenue stop last month. Barnes is accused of sticking his head up that woman's skirt as she walked up the stairs. And when she tried to push him away, police say Barnes threw her down the stairs and then started beating her. The 32-year-old victim suffered bruises but was not taken to a hospital.
And there are still lingering questions.